Things that make you go, November 1997, Bellevue, Washington. The only thing more hierarchical than a men's team is a women's clique. You're never wanted so much as when you're wanted. Women will ignore a guy until he has a girlfriend or is married, but once another woman wants him, they want him too. The only thing that infuriates a misandristic lesbian more than a man who is indifferent to her disinterest in men are men who get off on her being a lesbian. If you must put a label on it, is the refuge of someone who has no answers, only complaints. Feminism is the radical notion that women are human beings too, is a central slogan at the National Organization for Women. Evidently, there is no room in their radical notion for the fact women are also as bad as men, or that men are people too. As members of a commonwealth, we bear certain responsibilities for the history of our institutions, to see to it that our nation upholds its historical obligations. We are not, however, culpable for what our predecessors did once upon a time, only for what we do now and in the future. In response to the many independent studies indicating women are as abusive as men, feminists point to the context of the studies, that is, conflict, confrontation, an argument already engaged, and protest that outside this context of conflict, men are far more abusive, initiate violence far more often than do women. They ignore the continuum of conflict many women create in relationships. Passive-aggressive whining, catty comments about male nature, sexual teasing, followed by, "Not tonight, I've got a headache." They don't understand how the continuum of conflict creates a hostile environment that turns a relationship into a nightmare that leads to the male violence feminists claim springs out of nowhere. Obviously, they just don't get it. Better the stink of honest sweat than the stench of designer-named toxic chemicals called perfume. Feminist lawyer Gloria Allred staunchly opposes admitting evidence about an alleged victim's sexual history in cases of alleged rape, saying juries are incompetent to hear and decide a case on the basis of all the facts. Source: CNN, September 29, 1997. Yet she is silent about the practice of insurance and airline companies trotting out the sexual history of plaintiffs and victims in airplane crash lawsuits, a practice 2020 exposed in 1996. Why is it okay for wealthy corporations to talk about a female plaintiff's sexual history, but not for a lone man? Whenever a survey indicates men are in some way worse than women, it's everybody told the truth. But when a survey indicates women may in some way be worse than men, it's women were more honest than men. Old African saying, if a lion threatens your wife and your mother, save your mother. You can always get another wife. Hey, don't look at me. I didn't come up with that. That's a saying. As a human being, Princess Diana was worthy of our respect, just like anybody else, but had she been a man, women and men alike would have disrespected her as a wimp, and had she been a poor or middle-class man, they would have laughed. A female friend told me women are suspicious of men who are eager to get married. They assume something's wrong with them. Among Americans, black women and Asian men oppose interracial marriage the most. What, and whites are racist? Most women think a shy man is disinterested, but expect men to correctly interpret a woman's shyness. Movies and TV shows encourage men to spend less time on work and more time loving their wives or girlfriends. Is this a feminist plot to push men out and bring women to the forefront of workplace power? If so, the problem is few men have any real economic power. For the Backlash at Backlash.com, my name is Rod Van